Can everyone see my screen? Thumbs up, great. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Product Analytics Weekly. It is October the 16th, and I'll kick us off by reviewing the build board. We have two open issues that are strictly confidential, but does anyone have an update they would like to share or can share on this? Seeing some shaking heads.
Yeah, I can share an update there.
Okay.
Dennis has been gathering cost data for me. That's been super helpful. And he and I are discussing within that defined usage limits, some ideas around where we can set limits. That was part of our broader section discussion a week or two ago of where we can implement some limits for the managed product analytics stack. So those are in progress. I think they'll probably move over into 16.6 as they didn't get finished in 16.5.
Cool, thanks for the update. Then our next issue is in blocked. Rob, I believe you're the last person to work on this or comment on it. Don't know if you have any updates you would like to share, else we can move on.
That is going to be unblocked by the item being ready for development update schemas to exclude anonymous users. And that is for the dev kit analytics stack to add that schema value, and then we can start integrating that into the front end.
Okay, great. Maybe I'll pick this up since I see it's unassigned. Max, add product analytics to the experiment list. Any update?
Well, so I can't remember the last time I actually spoke about this. So we completed this and then had to roll it back because it caused issues with the different team. It was a different analyze team, optimized team. So we had to reopen it and revert it. Dennis has updated the issue description, which I'm in agreement with, and that's fine. However, I don't think it's going to hit 16.5 because my time's been taken up with this ClickHouse query stuff. So I think it's safe to assume it's going to slip into 16.6.
Right, thanks for the update. Yeah, it's been tricky, but I feel like it's been a good learning experience onboarding Optimize so early. So yeah, it's gonna, the good news is I think it's gonna make it easier for us to onboard other teams in the future, and it keeps us true to our goal of making this a open shared feature.
I agree.
Then Alvin has this issue to create an onboarding video walkthrough. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think there's any updates on this, so I'll skip ahead. Then in dev, Rob, you have this issue to fix click events. Any updates you want to share?
Yes, the schema stuff has been merged in, so I need to start requesting reviews for the front end. MR, I haven't done that yet. My plan was to do that today to start getting reviews on that.
Alrighty. Then from Dennis, we have an issue called logging, which I'll open up. Seems like the first exploration item here is done, and the next is to plug into GitLab and product size for self-managed clusters.
We've made a bit of progress on this. So we're plugging into the existing logging architecture for dev, and that's been working for a week or two now. Staging's infrastructure managed, and the SRE we're working with is, I believe, on PTO, but I will follow up with her for staging. And then production is a good question. I'll follow up with Dennis when he's back from PTO, because I think we're basically ready to go in production. I think everything's installed, but I'll need to double check. Either way, there's no reason this shouldn't hit 16.5.
Awesome.
Could you add an update to the issue description or to a comment just to reflect that current state, please?
Yeah, sure. I didn't even know. I think there might be more than one issue open for it. This is in the analytics stack specifically. Okay, yeah, I'll update an issue somewhere so that we know what's happening.
Thank you.
Right. Then there is another issue from Dennis. I'm not going to open it, but just leaving a few seconds in case anyone wants to share an update on this one.
Yeah, this is more of a tracking issue of a couple of different things. This should really probably just be an epic at this point. I think we're down to the logging that we just talked about and the abuse stuff. That putting limits into place, and then we'll be able to close this out. So I expect it all miss 16.5 and carry over into 16.6.
Excuse me. Then Alvin has create product analytics onboarding documentation. I believe the last update I saw on this was a comment from Lorena. It seems that this is still in development. All right, moving on. Then we have optimized ClickHouse memory usage. This would be very nice to have. Max, any update?
Oh, we've nearly got it. I shouldn't say things like that on a recorded call, but we're this close. I won't talk about it for hours here, but I would recommend catching up with the issue and see where we've got so far. But I've opened the first MR to resolve this, which I think, Rob, you've already approved it in the configurator.
Yes, I've approved it and passed it on to Ankit.
Lovely. So that will mean that future projects get a bunch of basically updates to the ClickHouse schema that mean we're storing sessions as they're created and updating them as new events come in, rather than calculating them on every page load. So that should make a huge difference to query time. We'll have to manually update the existing projects, but that's fine. It's a bit of a administrative headache, but it's not the end of the world. And then there's two other MRs, one updating the dev kit and the analytics stack, and then one for GitLab as well itself to actually make that the call to the newly created tables. But short version is have a read through the issue, and we should hopefully have massively reduced the memory usage.
Awesome. Those issues aren't linked, or those MRs aren't linked to this issue, are they? Right.
The MR is, but the one of the MRs is.
Yeah.
The other two aren't open yet.
Okay.
The other issues.
Gotcha. Right, Rob, you have Cube. Explore the use of pre-aggregators or aggregations. Any updates?
Getting stuck sometimes through my own lack of knowledge around how K8s works. I have a working implementation within DevKit to make it so we actually get pre-aggregations running and working. It is just me trying to test and validate this approach on the analytics stack right now. I've been bouncing around a lot, being a rubber duck, and contributing to MR reviews and etc. the last few days. So I haven't had a lot of time to deep dive further into this. However, it is also slightly less of a priority now. We've rewritten sessions to be far more performant. So I'll have a conversation with Dennis tomorrow whether we want me to continue with this approach and just finish it off, or if we want to move it back, document what we've done so far, and focus on other tasks that may be a high priority now in beta.
Yeah, seems sensible.
Yeah, I should make it clear that I have definitely been taking up an awful lot of Rob's time this week. So that will definitely.
As if I.
To be fair, I've learned a lot, so it's a learning opportunity for me at least.
Halil, you have decouple customizable dashboards from the GraphQL from product analytics feature state. That is a mouthful.
Yeah.
Any updates?
Yeah, as the title says, it's decoupling the customizable dashboards and also the values from dashboards from the GraphQL from the product analytics part. In order to do it, I actually had to implement another issue as well, which is like the backend returning only onboarded features, onboarded product analytics dashboards, not all of them. So the backend MR is under maintainer review. It's almost there. There is also a follow-up front-end review, front-end MR, which will be reviewed after the backend is merged.
Okay, great. Feel free to send that for an MR my side.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
All right, Rob, at full order.
Yeah, still nothing from Cube. I have pushed on their community Slack to try and get some feedback. Haven't heard anything yet, but I only recently just did it. So I will update the issue as and when I get some feedback. Eventually, if I still don't hear anything, we're going to have to make a judgment call about how we want to deal with this, whether you just want to put it on pause or fork or something. We'll have to make a call if they really, really will not engage with us in any way.
Yeah, let's see how far we can get by just making some noise first. Then Alvin has this one, which I think I merged yesterday. Yeah, so I'm going to move this into verification. this just needs to be verified. And then Alvin also has another issue in verification for visualization designer does not handle longer legends. This is a nice fix. Yeah, this was the issue where the chart legends would take up the entire chart space. Not ideal. Right, then bookmark issue. We have update visualization designer title. You see. Right, quite a lot of issues that we have enclosed here. We have move visualization already exists error to input. This is a nice small UX improvement where we're moving from these alerts onto actual inline errors on our form groups. Then Alvin also has hide product analytics settings when experimental toggle is disabled. I believe this is related to the experimental changes, but I'm not sure.
It was closed in
Okay.
favor of reverting the experimental toggle.
Gotcha, yeah. And then there is remove feature usage matrix from visualization designer. Don't know if anyone has anything to add to that.
Feature usages was a metric that was added in the proof of concept, but never implemented in any form.
Gotcha.
So it was just dead code, essentially, that we needed to get rid of.
Yay for less code. And then we have from Alan, extend service ping to more relevant product analytics feature screens. I think this was just extending it, yeah, to add more events. And then we have one from me, which is handle unsafe changes in analytics dashboards. Yeah, this just shows you a confirmation dialog similar to our MR issue editing and creation screen. If you move away while having content, you'll get this confirmation. Then there is improve analytics dashboards in dark mode. This is a nice little UX change, just making our contrast nicer and easier to read. Then we have update the visualization designer visualize column. This moved our visualization designers visualize type. We had a whole column for this one field into a single input field. Moving on, it's quite a lot here. We have a few minutes, so I'll quickly run through all these. Halil, you have update product analytics cluster settings fields. Anything you'd like to add?
So this is maybe title is a little bit misleading. It's actually a cleanup from previous settings that we don't use anymore. So rerunning some migrations. Yeah, that's it actually.
All right. Max, you add GraphQL endpoint to get product analytics usage from group and its projects.
Yep,
Anything you'd
you
like
can
to
now
add?
use your GraphQL endpoint to query a project's usage and therefore an entire namespace if you want to. And that seems to work nicely. It's been deployed to production for a few days.
Awesome. Rob, you removed snowplow prefix schemas from the analytics stack. Anything you'd like to add?
It's all in the name. We just removed the snowplow prefix to make it agnostic. And the next one, add link click events count to kube schemas, I've already discussed. Just adds the backend support for us to be able to add link clicking events, counting, etc. to our UI.
Awesome. This small UI improvement to the visualization designer already shared in the analytics channel, but it now looks more like this design, which I think is a bit nicer. It will at least have to suffice until our new UX designer is here and onboarded. Then I also updated some documentation to both our developer and user docs for visualization designer. And then Halil, the last closed issue is yours for sending custom dashboards to remove instrumentation key. Anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, it was a bug fix. Basically, this bug was introduced by me when I was implementing the project level analytics dashboards separated from the group level. So this is just a bug fix. Yeah.
Great. All right. In that case, I can add this new bookmark. And James, I believe you have the next agenda item, so I'll stop sharing.
I do. So as I mentioned yesterday in Slack and as in the agenda, Dennis and I wanted to start a conversation around fiscal year 24 Q4 OKRs. If I have the right year and month offset correctly. I'm proposing this is a mashup of the list that Dennis and I each had, but we're going to have combined product and engineering OKRs. This quarter is the first time at that, I think. And so we've settled on 3 big objectives so far. The first being ship to beta, second, enable data exploration with AI, and the third, dogfooding product analytics at GitLab. And so we have some key results underneath those that we can talk through. And wanted to open it up to questions or comments, starting at the top. We have about 7 minutes left on our call, but want to get through as much discussion as we can here, and we can take the rest the async after the call. These won't need to be settled for a couple more days at least.
One question I had with the first point around the Epic for beta, we talked about usage being a stretch goal that could be released post beta. Does that mean because I know Elwin is working on the usage related stuff, figuring that all out, should we be pivoting to focus on other areas within the beta as a higher priority? Or is there a high priority specifically for front end regarding that?
I think the priorities as they stand today within the beta Epic are on track. I'm not following what you mean by when you say usage though, Rob.
The usage page for seeing
Usage quota.
That's the word I was looking for. Thanks. The
Got
usage
it.
quota page is a stretch goal for beta rather than a requirement. So I was just validating that we should continue to be working on this, unless there's a high priority thing that front end should be focusing on more so we can close out the Epic.
Yeah, it's a stretch goal, but it's not required to close the Epic. That's why it's not a child Epic of the beta Epic, that it's split out separately. We can ship and let customers onboard themselves within the beta and then launch the usage quota page after that. That is not a problem. There's no blocking requirement there.
I think I answered my own question just looking through all the issues. I think front end hasn't got any hard priority items within this Epic anymore anyway. So the usage is the way to go.
Yeah, I think we're close with like the dashboard and visualization designer to actually also getting that out for beta, but yeah, it's not a hard requirement for this Epic, I see.
Yeah, not a hard requirement, more of a stretch goal and just extra bonus fun stuff. I'm really excited that the dashboard designer stuff is pretty much wrapped up and that the visualization designer MVC Epic is pretty much wrapped as well. That's super exciting and really opens up possibilities for next steps and demos and getting better and richer feedback from customers around what they're seeing. The next big one is going to be those custom events, figuring out how we can start to visualize those and query against those. That'll be fun. Cool. Looks like we have some more discussion under the enable data exploration with AI. But are there any other questions or comments on ship to beta? All right. So moving on. I added in evaluate some number of experiments or possibilities, and then build out a proof of concept MVC for some sort of AI-enabled or GitLab Duo type solution that solves for that. Hey, I don't want to learn another query language, but let me answer questions about my product analytics data. That's really the space. And a later agenda item is we're going to talk about that more in tomorrow's PMUX meeting for anyone who wants to join that call. If you're not already on it, it should be in the product analytics meetings calendar, or I'd be happy to add you as a one-off. So Rob, I think you have the first comment under build a POC/MVC.
Yeah, I know Alan was sort of working on playing around with this to see as a proof of concept to see what we can and cannot do. I'm not sure if we've got any issues or discussions that took place with that. I wasn't privy to them. So if there are any links, love to see them. But just generally, were there any learnings out of that we can take to consolidate into a more structured proof of concept MVC?
So I attended the AI framework team, I think they're called now, office hours a couple of weeks ago, mainly to speak to Gosha because she was the one who spoke to Alan while he was still on the team. And the takeaway I got from that is, my immediate question was, is it possible to build something where you can ask a question of data and then it outputs a cube valid query, which is essentially what we would want. And the short answer was yes, but it would require a fair amount of quite high quality prompt engineering to get it right. But it is well within the capabilities of the LLMs that we have access to. So yeah, the short version is we totally can, but the recording and the discussion I had is all in that agenda if you want to catch up.
Do we have any issues that Alan wrote out and filled out before he moved teams?
I think there
I
might
could
be
read.
one. I'll try and dig it out.
I think there's a couple. I think there's an epic dedicated to just AI specific solution space. And there might be things in there to take a peek at and dig into.
Okay, I'll have a look now and I'll add it to the agenda if I can find it.
Awesome.
Thanks. Because I'm going to be attending that fun meeting about AI in the UX call. So the more knowledge, the better, because I know nothing.
Everybody Google what other folks are doing in the space between now and tomorrow. Cool. Moving on to then dog fooding product analytics at GitLab. The key results here that I want to call out are building our own dashboard for product analytics. If we can inception product analytics with analytics, that would just make my day. I'd be so happy. And then the other being increase our weekly active user count to 200. I'm going to start chipping away at that by sharing the new product analytics dashboards for docs, which went public today. So hopefully we can get a little bit closer. I think we've topped out at 33 so far, but we're on our way. So the more users we can get on it internally, the closer we get, and the more beta users we get, the closer we get to that 200. So those are our two key results for dog fooding at GitLab.
Do we have a key result for the number of projects that are using product analytics, or is that something we don't really want to target until we're in GA?
I would, we usually think about active users more than projects. I think I have in a couple of the recent metrics issues that are open for like Dashboard Designer and Visualization Designer, added a metric for how many projects have saved a dashboard or saved a visualization. But it's more of a secondary KPI than I would say a key result or a main driver for us. Really, we want to focus on how many users are getting value out of this because of where we're probably positioning the feature creates it more stickiness for those users. All right, well, if you have other questions, feel free to add them to the agenda, or I did start a thread in Slack, and I'll move those over into the agenda. Longer term, I'm going to move these into the OKR project before the end of the week, and we can continue discussion there, and I'll link to those so that you can follow the chain through.
I had one last question, James, just while we're still on it.
Go for it.
With evaluate X experiments, what determines what X is? How do we get to that number?
Dennis and I'll hash it out and then put it into the objective.
Cool.
Let the smart guy deal with that. All right, then this is more of a read-only FYI. There's an agenda item on tomorrow's PMUX sync to discuss what the solution space of I don't want to learn new query language, just show me the data, might be next. And of course, everyone is welcome to come and talk through that. That won't be the only venue in which we have that discussion, but I thought it'd be a good synchronous time to talk through that as the next area that we explore because it's the next biggest opportunity for us. All right, moving along in the agenda in the last minute. Max, I think you have the last item here.
Yeah, just I'm sure everyone already saw it in Slack, but when docs.gitlab.com is now instrumented and taking on quite an impressive amount of data and hasn't fallen over yet. So that's great.
Excellent work, everyone. All right, we are at the end of agenda and the end of time. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day or evening. Cheers.